I was born in Newport, just over the hill, over the river and through the woods. I graduated in 1974 from the high school. Actually, from 1964 probably to 69, I lived here in Claremont. I lived on North Street and Chestnut Street. I graduated from North Street School in the 2nd grade, moved over to the Way School. I graduated in the 4th grade. Then I moved to Newport. Again, I graduated in 1974, and then I went off to college. I went to Boston University. I was there for 2 years, and then I came home to help take care of my brother. He came home from the Vietnam War with psychological issues, and I changed the course of my life to come home and help him. Because family matters first. When you take care of your family, you take care of your community, and you take care of your nation. My first job as an adult was I was the assistant manager for the Pizza Hut over here in the late 1970s. And then I left that, and then I went to work at Coy Paper Company. You all know that place over here? That's not in existence anymore. But I want to tell you a heartfelt thing that happened about a couple of weeks ago with a gentleman that got into an accident at the paper mill here in Claremont and died. 30 years ago, the same thing happened to me. I was caught in some rollers at a paper mill, and I almost lost both my arms because of what happened to me. And I want to send my condolences and heartfelt sympathies to his family, because I know what they went through. So just a moment of silence for him and his family. After I left the paper mill, I went over toward the seacoast. I lived in Seabrook for 6 years. I met my wife over there 28 years ago. We started a family. We lived in Seabrook for 6 years. Then we moved to Lee, where we've been there for the last 21 years. I worked when I left Coy Paper Company after my accident, I said I'd never work in a factory again. Then I went to Portsmouth and worked in another one for 12 years. I left that to go to work for Fidelity Investments, where I was a stockbroker for 4.5 years. I left there and became an insurance agent. My job for the last 7 years before I left it in April was I was an account manager talking to federal employees about the benefits of long-term care insurance, which pays for nursing home care, assisted living care, and home care for catastrophic events such as Alzheimer's, strokes. Sometimes it's just getting old. That's been my job, is counseling people for catastrophic events. But let's move on to catastrophic events going on in our country today. It started 16 months ago when President Obama took the oath to protect and defend the Constitution from all enemies, both domestic and foreign. But he has not honored that oath. He's done everything in his power to destroy the country. He says he would not raise our taxes. They're going up. He said he wouldn't keep people in Guantanamo Bay. They're still there. He said he would take care of our health situation with health care, and he hasn't. He said the one promise that he is keeping, he says if this cap and trade goes through, that our electric bills will necessarily skyrocket. And that's what we have to look forward to. What I want to do as senator is fight that. On a health care issue, people say they want to repeal it. I would like to repeal it, but I think that the statistic probability of that is very low. Because even if we do take both House and Senate, and the president vetoes that repeal, we need 67 votes in the Senate, and I think that's going to be very difficult to get. But what I would do is I'd start taking it apart piece by piece. First, I'd take away the money to fund it, and then I'd start taking the things out of it that are doing the worst thing to us. I think Nancy Pelosi was right when she said we don't know what's going to be in the bill until after it's passed, because the people writing the rules and regulations after the bill is passed are putting everything in there, including the kitchen sink. There are things in there such as if you sell your house now, there will be a 3% surcharge, a tax, on the sale of your house. Remember he said when the healthcare, your taxes won't rise up? Everything they're putting into that healthcare bill has got nothing to do with healthcare, but it's everything to do with wealth distribution. They're taking our money and giving it out to everybody else except for us. We are the usual suspects in this game that Congress is playing. You know who the usual suspects usually are? The criminals, the ones that usually do the crimes. But the usual suspects that Congress looks for to pay for this stuff is you and me. And we're the ones that don't benefit from anything that they're doing. So we got to stop that. What do I want to do about Afghanistan and Iraq? Iraq this week asked for us to stay there 10 more years. We've been there since 1991. They have not gotten their government together since they had their election in April. And they want us to stay there 10 more years to make sure that they're secure. I think it's time to come home. Train their troops, let them protect themselves if they want to. That's great. If they don't want to, that's great too. I think that we should come home. Afghanistan, we've been there almost 9 years now. We ramped up the troops to over 100,000 people, and Governor Petraeus said there are 50 to 100 Al-Qaeda left in the country. That was our mission. The ratio of our troops to one Al-Qaeda is 1,000 to 1. We have what we call mission creep. We started out with Al-Qaeda, we pretty much eradicated them, and now we're going after the Taliban. Who's next? We can't keep chasing them from country to country. And again, I would say that we should bring them home. And I would bring them home and I'd put them on our border in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California. Close up the border so nobody else can come in. Give the troops the tools that they need, not sit them at a desk with a pencil. Give them the tools that they need, which is possibly ammunition to defend ourselves. We don't need a sign in English 80 miles from the border telling us not to go down there because it's too dangerous. We're ceding 80 miles of our border to Mexico in essence. We're going to stop that. And I would make it a felony for the people that hire the people that come across the border illegally. I don't call them immigrants. I call them trespassers. They don't belong here. If they want to come here to work, we can do what we do down on the seacoast in the apple orchards. We can go down there, sign them up, do everything legally, have them come up here, do their job, pay their taxes, and they can go home. And that's fine with me. But let's not have them come here illegally. And then once we seal the border off, then we can find these people that are here illegally and give them a ticket home. And that's what I feel about Afghanistan and our border. We have to secure our dollar. Our dollar